Greetings and welcome to episode number 47 of Ralph Stuff. Tonight, premiere of The Mighty Heroes of Stevens Lee. This is essentially a documentary about a documentary. More on capturing video with your laptop and my series of video tips as Video Ralph. And remember the Cold War? Journey back with us to 1956. I remember it. Hello, I'm Ralph Roberts, director of The Mighty Heroes of Stevens Lee High School. This is Asheville, North Carolina on February the 2nd, 2008, the premiere of our documentary film. We're looking towards the Jackson Building, a very Gothic type of architecture with gargoyles. You can see the gargoyle over there on the right. And this is all that's left of Stevens Lee High School, the leading black high school in western North Carolina, and only the gym is left. The rest of the school was torn down when it was closed in 1965, and the school joined with the white school system here in Asheville and Buncombe County. This was a bittersweet victory because while many opportunities opened up now for the black community, a lot of the magic that was Stevens Lee and the identity was lost. That's what this film brings out and shows the great contributions by the people who went to Stevens Lee. Inside, we had a cake, a very nice cake that shows Stevens Lee as it was in its heyday. Now only the building on the right's left, which of course is, as I mentioned before, is the gymnasium. And it's now a recreation center run by the city of Asheville. That's Benny Lake. Benny played for the Harlem Globetrotters and the Harlem Astronauts. He's, of course, a graduate of Stevens Lee and the co-producer of the movie. Here he is examining the cake with his wife, Eve. Very nice people and wonderful friends of mine. It's my wife, Pat, coming along to help with the cake. I was, of course, interested in food, and there was ham and turkey and roast beef and nuts and mints and crackers and some great cheese. So, and here's the cake out of the box and ready for action. This was worth all over a year that we spent working on the film just to see this good food here. And of course, we had books. Benny and Johnny Bailey, the other co-producer, written a book on the history of Stevens Lee, and the guest of honor tonight is the documentary itself. And we're standing around waiting, hoping some people will show up, and sure enough they start coming in. And the crowd continues to grow. Turned out to be a very, very nice event, very satisfying. Here comes some more gentlemen in. One in the center there is Mr. Joe Green, who was well known for boxing back in the 60s. The real Mean Joe Green, but he's actually a very, very nice person. Folks begin eating early. So, and that's good. That's an eating meeting is always the best. And we're waiting for the film to start and for more people to come in. And as you can see, the crowd is growing. Very gratifying that so many people turned out, more people yet. And we're coming along. That gentleman in the blue coat's Mr. King. He was one of the teachers at Stevens Lee High School. And now we're going to hear from Benny and Johnny and myself as we introduce the film. You won't often see me in a suit and tie, but Pat and I are both dressed up in honor of this significant event.
Take a little time out to give some thanks to some people here today that have made all this possible. First of all, we'd like to thank Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and our God They made all of this possible, first of all. Second of all, we'd like to give credit to some of our sponsors. Mr. Kent Smith from Global Development, Mr. John Teeter, the PepsiCo Bottle Company. Also, we'd like to give credit to Park and Recreation, Ms. Allison Dunn, and Ms. Secretary now, Superintendent now, Ms. Corn. We'd like to thank those people for making all this possible. We also would like to give thanks to you, the public, the people of Ashford and Buncombe County, for supporting us, all of us. And if I start naming names, I had to name everyone in this room. But we'd like to give special thanks to the people that have volunteered to be a part of this historic documentary. We think it's fitting for this whole community, the community of Ashford and Buncombe, to always remember their history, where they come from, and therefore know where we're going. This documentary is not only for us, but it's also for our children to recognize a great legacy they came from. And because of that great legacy, what we expect from them. And I won't take up all the time, but I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you. I see some of my best friends and associates out here in the audience, and I want to tell you that it warms my heart to be here. Mr. Ben, I do have to recognize him. He's been a very, very loyal supporter of us, and all the rest of us. Now let Mr. Benny say a few words.
Well, it's not too much I can say, but like being covered everything from God on down to our families and friends. But once again, we really thank you, and you wouldn't have an idea of the work Ben and I had to do, not to complete the DVD, nor the book, but just in general what we've given to this community to try to make sure a legacy stayed alive. We had our ups and you had our downs, but everything has been wonderful. I wouldn't turn back nothing. Everything we did, the good, and I would do it all over again if I had to. And so once again, thank everybody so much for helping us to bring this dream to a reality. And we still got things we got to do. This is just a turning point. Hopefully, our children will take it off from here. And we have to leave them something that they can start working with. So hopefully this is just like I said, a stepping stone for our children. And to make them just like you all, great people, wonderful, God people. And hopefully our children will grow in that line. So we all can be proud of them once we decide that our role is through. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to one of our very sincere, not only working people, but he turned into one of Ben and my greatest friend. Not only a great friend of ours. And I don't use that word lightly, friend. I don't use it lightly. Nor do I use family lightly. So at this time, I introduce Rex Roberts.
It's really a privilege working with Mr. Ray and Mr. Bailey. And they did all the work. They're the ones that pulled all this together. I was just able to do a little polishing on it and make sure it got out what we could see it. So I grew up here in Buncombe County. I remember the Stephen Sweet band. I was in the band at Irwin High School, and I was really admiring the Stephen Sweet band, because they got to do things they wouldn't let us do. So I was there 15 years, and that's why I made sure that we had a good portion in the DVD back then. But these are the guys who get off the hook.
No. He shouldn't. So we sit back and relax now and hope you enjoy what you see. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we really start the film, and the only glitch of the evening occurs. Neither Benny nor I can figure out how to get the DVD started. I thought I had it set up and ready to go, but evidently not. Luckily, Allison comes to the rescue. Allison is featured in the film and is also the director of the Stevens Lee Recreation Center for the Parks and Recreation Department of the City of Asheville. So we get the film started and move on.
I must say one other thing. I recognize a lot of you guys like Mr. Kickman because I looked at you more than you look at yourself.
We'd like to welcome you to the Stevens Lee Greatest Sports Heroes DVD portion of our book. We'd like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about how we got started, developing the book, and also a little history behind it. We started in 1974 by developing different little magazines, profiling different athletes, not only from Stevens Lee, but from Lee Evans, which is now known as Asheville High School. The book was developed down in the education department and the band together. Reputation for the band, the athletic program, and especially for our educational program. We developed the book not only for that reason, but to preserve the history, the legacy, and the people that was responsible for that legacy and history. We thought it was, we know, not thought, we know the aspect of the DVD needs to be brought out for various reasons. When Ben and myself decided to take this project.
And Dr. Lynn, before I was faced with those names, and when I even met the name, I was excited. The excitement of being able to compete for one of the small neighborhoods in my community to even go out. And then when I worked on my routine, I had a lot of people from the community that came to help me to march all the way to my community march that on the street. So that's one of the experiences I remember. There are many others of excited amazing, going to shop and watching other high school videos. Just to be a part and say I was a major to the Stevens Lee High School.
Let's talk a little bit about how it felt when we moved the band from Lemonade to the band.
My name is Stephen Lake. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you, for one, to my father, Billy Lake, and Mr. Johnny Benson for the greatest sports hero book that they have both written and both of the authors of the book. Again, I want to take this opportunity to show great appreciation on their part. Due to the fact of this book, I was able to read about people who I had no idea did such great things in this community, the community of Asheville, North Carolina. Not only did this book open my eyes to see the things that have been done, but it kind of paved the way.
Okay, the film's now over. It was, from all appearances, very well received, and lots of people congratulated us. There's Mr. Bailey enjoying the afterglow of the moment and talking to people as they eat that beautiful cake that we saw at the beginning of this segment. And talk about the movie. Darrell Bailey, he's the son of Johnny Bailey. And we're moving around looking at the different people. It was great, a very great event, I thought. I was very pleased with it. Hello there, this is Video Ralph. Ralph Roberts, and we're testing capturing video on a laptop. Let me bring this up to full screen. There we go. Now, doesn't that look good? My goodness. This is very convenient because, again, I'm capturing directly to the laptop right here, and we don't need tape. In fact, the tape's not even running. I'm saving the tape. I'm getting a computer file directly onto the computer, which means that it will be much faster in editing because I don't have to read the tape in. The tapes read in real time. So if you shoot a 15-minute tape, it takes 15 minutes to read it in. This way, you have immediate access, which is always good. Saves time, saves tape, and it's real good to use. Now, of course, I have a light, I'm lit, I have a shotgun mic on the camera that I'm using, and should be picking me up. In fact, I know it's picking me up good because I can see the the audio monitors there, and they're peaking nicely. So that's working good. Now with the this particular software, oops, there we go. I can also monitor the waveform looking on this, and quite a few other things too. It's really nice, makes a nice field monitor, and I can bring the picture back up where I can see it really well. And you probably can too. It looks reasonably good there. I could probably move it a little bit, a little reflection, but it gives you an idea of what's working. Of course, you can take a laptop out on a job with you out in the field and use it that way, and it works super fine. Looking at that computer behind me that's being repaired. When I get around to it, I have lots of computers. I'm usually building a computer or have them in various states of repair or disrepair, and are waiting parts like that one. I've got to change out the power supply in it, I believe. Yes, this is working very good, very well, to be more precise in my grammatical usage, which we all should be. So I hope you like this, and that you'll experiment with it also. Any laptop will work. You do need to have a FireWire port to input, so you can input the video directly from your camera. But if your laptop didn't come with one, for $39 or so, you can get a plug-in card that will take care of that. You need some sort of software. This is high-dollar software that does professional monitoring of video and a bunch of other stuff. So you don't have to actually have that. Any cheap editing program will work. And you can get editing programs for $49.95 or so now. Those of you who attend my Gorilla Vid workshops at URTV, Channel 20 in Asheville, have seen some of these cheap, I should say perhaps inexpensive, editing programs in action, and they work really well, especially for field work like this. So that's a test. Captioned directly to my laptop from the video camera. Of course, where else would you capture it from? Okay, that's what the software looks like, and let me see if I can just run it in the background. It won't let me back off of it. Let's see here. Devices. Yep. So Sony DV VCR camcorder DV that we're capturing on. We're actually capturing in high definition, by the way. Although, as you're seeing it, it's probably standard definition. Okay. So that's looking good. Let's bring it back up. There we go. So That sound is. This is Video Ralph. You can have tons of fun with video also. Join us at URTV, Channel 20, Asheville, North Carolina, the land of the sky. Thank you. How do you stop it? You gotta drop this back down and press stop.
Protection comes high, sky high. Today we must be on guard in the sky when it comes to protecting our resources. The national resources that are so precious to us. The offensive weapons of tomorrow are here today. Supersonic, super destructive, seemingly unresistible. To protect the future of America, the defense techniques of tomorrow had to be discovered now. They were discovered in electronics. That is how SAGE and bursting computers into military service. Electronics for combat use means new concepts, new tools, new weapons. You are listening to the heartbeat of the SAGE computer. Every instrument in this room is constantly monitoring, testing, pulse taking, controlling. For this is the programming and operations center for the SAGE computer which surrounds it. To it come continuous streams of data, which it continuously absorbs and stores on magnetic drums, tapes, and cores. Data from radar units, Texas towers, picket ships, early warning aircraft, ground observer corps, weather bureaus. To say nothing of up-to-the-minute data on all regularly scheduled commercial air flights. It also packs away information as to the number, location, and characteristics of all military craft, all anti-aircraft guns, all defensive missiles in the area. And this computer is on the job around the clock with 24-hour-a-day reliability. It is really two computers, but only one is operating the system. The other, with the same vast memory, performs as a slave, checking calculations and results, ready to take over in a matter of seconds should the master computer falter. All this is housed in one of the new headquarters of computer defense, one of the direction centers of what the Air Force calls SAGE. Beyond a fantastic capacity for calculation and memory, SAGE possesses the newest and most revolutionary advance in data processing, the display scope, a computer-generated visual display, on call as needed. Until SAGE, the miracle of the computer was its ability to calculate in split seconds and then provide printed information. But SAGE needed more than this. For the lightning shifts of air battle, the Air Force requested from IBM a computer capable of translating volumes of changing data into a continuous flow of interpretations which could be understood at a glance. Air defense required split-second presentation as well as split-second calculation. Given this objective, IBM applied the latest extension of data processing, the display scope, a giant picture tube on which computer results are instantaneously and continuously translated into graphic images. In SAGE, airmen have the battle visualized for them on the computer generated display. 2 floors above the great computers are the batteries of display scopes. Although they look like the offspring of a marriage between a television tube and a radar screen, display scopes do not show physical images transmitted from elsewhere. They display the results of the computer's findings. SAGE, with its display scope, also has one feature possessed by neither a television or radar screen. It has memory. In case of enemy air attack, not only can a clear picture of the changing air situation be displayed on the scope, but if the airman wishes to see how things got that way, the scope can recall any previous phase of the situation from the computer's memory. By analyzing the past, SAGE can project into the future. The computer can furnish information on the countermeasures available so that the officer in charge can make his choice as to when and where to fight. Once he has selected a plan of counterattack, the computer guides interceptors and missiles to the enemy. After encounter, the computer guides the interceptors back to their bases. Aladdin's lamp couldn't do more. What is the most precious commodity that electronics defense wins us? Time. Long before the bomber reaches our defense perimeter, the computer's memory will identify it as friendly. But if a flight of planes were identified as hostile, then in a matter of minutes, time is everything. This is electronic defense in depth. And what better reason for an effective air defense? But is this protection enough? Here is protection too. The protection which comes with the possession of weapons of retaliation. Just as our defensive powers had been advancing, so have our instruments of attack. The demands of plane warfare required the fantastic ability of modern computers. The question was, how could the electronic computer be made airborne? Problems of consequence when designing a computer for ground installation became overwhelming when it was proposed to redesign them to fit into jet bombers. First, the problem of space and weight. The interior of a modern bomber is cramped for space as is. How can a bulky computer be fitted into it? For every extra pound of dead weight carried, a bomber must add many more gallons of fuel. Second, the problem of reliability. Could a computer be designed to withstand all the stresses of flight? Weather, climate, turbulence. Third, maintenance. Could a computer be designed for easy ground and air maintenance? These and other problems were all finally solved by unique design and by employing the basic principle of modular construction. The same multiple arrangement principle which was applied in the design of this doll furniture enabled the Air Force to procure an airborne computer. By designing an electronic assembly packaged in self-contained units which are then joined, a computer of flexible construction was achieved. It can either be installed in a compact unit or parts can be distributed according to the space available. Self-contained units make it easier to achieve durable construction and easier to test each unit for reliability. Under all conditions, an airborne computer is likely to be exposed to, and some highly unlikely ones. High altitudes up to 120,000 feet.
Go to ralphwroberts.com to see this show again.